what happens with that water? It goes up to the towers, up into the cooling towers. It's pretty tall, and it's not full of steam. It's full of water, not all the way, but so anyway, you'll see the cooling towers. It's kind of like a kind of a square shape. It's not huge, but it is pretty big. So there's that. So in Japan, when there is an earthquake, they have 3 backup systems. If the earthquake happens, and then they have another backup, a backup, another backup to protect the nuclear power site. They have a couple different barriers to help that. And so nothing will be destroyed. So if they both are if all 3 are destroyed, then that would really impact the area, the surrounding area with the nuclear chemicals that would be there. Sometimes you'll see on the news that they figured it out and that something had happened, and then they fix it. It's a really popular thing, and it's really important. And I want you to know that it's really important process to be working on and making sure everything is an issue. It's always a struggle to fix how that people may steal that sort of thing. There's a rod. There are rods there, and those rods can be shaken, but they can be fully clothed and destroyed too. But they continue to cover those. And so that's an issue as well in Japan. Okay, so back to the tsunamis. If it hits the ocean, it can destroy your house, especially if you live close to the ocean. The water can really impact you. In Japan, that tsunami that happened, we've seen video footage of what happened from the camera in their car. They're driving along, and then all of a sudden, they're recording it, and things start going crazy. The wind is shaking, the trees are shaking, the car is shaking, and then all of a sudden, you start seeing the movement with the car as well, with the water. And you see the water coming at you, and the cars are floating in the water, and the cameraman's still recording and kind of going through, and he's just driving along and still recording, and he sees some other people in their car, and they're near each other and kind of recording things as well. I don't know, like 60-ish people. There's car wrecks everywhere. It was really scary. I can only imagine how scared I would be that something like this would happen. I'd be terrified. That's sort of the thing, how the tsunami works. And if something happens horrible, then it pushes the water back out as well. So the nuclear power, is it safe? I don't know. It's an issue that continues to go on and on. People argue back and forth about it. I mean, it depends. I think some of the positive things is that it's contained and used in a certain area, used in small amounts. And there's one small nuclear planet and many, many, many other nuclear grades, and they also are thrown out. And how is this little guy that is so small and can make so many ridiculously powerful things? And so that's kind of cool about it. Some radioactive waves are involved in that as well. So we want to make sure that we are aware of that. I don't know, maybe 10,000, 15,000 years, and you can hide those things underneath there and you can leave it there. Under a big rock, I don't know, like a metal something or other, we could use some sort of canister and leave it there, and it's still there. So, I mean, there are those positives and negatives about it, and so there's also a nuclear issue with the nuclear power being in Japan, and so always arguing with where we should continue to have that, and so that's always going to be some sort of issue. Sometimes it can be bombarded with, I don't know, skin, or you can lose a lot of DNA, and the DNA can be changed in that when you're bombarded with DNA, that will kind of destroy some things, maybe called modate. It's always dividing through mitosis. And there's that impact that will always happen, and the division that will always happen, and the separation as well. There can be a lot of power regarding those two things, and a lot of that can be lost through other specifics. If you're maybe paranoid about that, it's very weak, a very weak dosage of it. Still, it can have the power on your body, but if you're exposed to it over and over again, it could be an issue. Yes, it's weak, but it could be an issue. Your body is amazing and very strong, so you can process through those things as well. So for an example, a nuclear destruction, maybe 20, 30, 40 miles, it could hit there, and it could destroy something. Maybe your skin or whatnot. I don't know. It can be very dangerous. Sometimes it'll hit really fast and it'll disintegrate really easily. But the idea is still the same. It can destroy babies, and the mitosis that is there, the egg and the sperm, it can get destroyed, and sometimes it could be perfect, and you think that it's fine, and then the baby is disformed when it's born because of those chemicals. The researchers say that there are a few different things that lead to this problem with the nuclear war, and the scientists go and they figure out how many issues with the animals. They test things with animals and see how that's related to humans and their reproduction as well. So what do we do when we look at Japan? Is that a little nerve-wracking for you? You know, what happens if the same mistake happens again? I mean, that can be, it's a very sticky subject. You know, what do you do? It's your own perspective, really. People have different opinions on it, and so it's kind of up to you on what you believe and what you think on something like that.